So in this video, I'm gonna tell you the most common types of alopecia and the type that I mentor Black women in recovering from and preventing. Okay, so the first type is areata, which is a patchy hair loss all around the scalp. It is a chronic issue. The second one is totalis. It is a total loss over the entire scalp. The third is universalis. It's total hair loss over the body, eyelashes, eyebrows included. And then telogen effluvium, which can be caused by stress after having a baby, effects of chemotherapy. And the fifth type is traction, which is hair loss around the hairline caused by tightness on the scalp, repeatedly happening. And there are different varying degrees of it. It usually happens, around the front hairline, but it can also happen around the perimeter. One thing about all of the five that I just stated is traction alopecia is 100% preventable, which means that we are electing to lose our hair in record numbers based on styles that are not meant for us. And I know this because taking care of natural hair in its natural state has been a focus of mine for the last 12 of the 30 years that I've been styling hair. And in doing so, traction alopecia is by far the most common type of alopecia that I see in clients. So I really committed to helping Black women prevent and reverse the damage that's necessary to heighten your self-esteem and to build a loving relationship with your hair, no matter the length, the density, or the texture. Okay? Making it accessible to people outside of my clientele base is literally my focus. Because one thing I know for sure, God makes no mistakes, and what you have is enough. So once you can identify which type you have and know, hey, this is traction alopecia, and now that you know it's 100% preventable, comment, God makes no mistakes, okay? Because I'm here to support and guide you through a journey of self-love by building a relationship with your hair that's gonna last you a lifetime and generations to come and heal trauma from before you. Hey, so today I'm gonna talk about 3 ways to prevent traction alopecia. Marcus Garvey has a quote that I love that says, "Do not remove the kinks from your hair, remove them from your brain." And I really love this quote because in essence what he's saying is, it's not the aesthetic of our hair that needs to change. It's our mindset and the way we think and feel about our hair that we need to tap into and make corrections. So with that being said, in order to prevent traction alopecia, these next 3 things that I recommend are based on a transitioning of your mind and how to do that. And if you don't have traction alopecia, this is really for you, because I feel like there's too much focus on remedies for missing edges than solutions, okay? So the first way to prevent traction alopecia is to make an honest assessment about how you feel about your hair and natural hair in general. So for instance, for me, I struggle with shrinkage and really feeling like shrinkage wasn't pretty when I was a straight hair natural. And getting over that, once I really had the desire to want to wear my hair in its natural state, I had to get over that. I had to really tap into why I felt like shrinkage was ugly, not just on me, in general. And what it all led back to was me changing my mindset. Now I understand that shrinkage is equated to elasticity. Elasticity is a key sign of health for Afro-textured hair. There went the shift. You see what I mean? Where I once saw it as unsightly, once I saw that that is the key component to having healthy hair, it made me fall in love with shrinkage. The mindset is important to have to change. So, making an honest assessment about what you think, how you feel about it. What were you told as a child about your hair? You know what I mean? Assessing even that. What were some of the words that elders that were around you used to describe it? Were they negative? Were they positive? Because even if you have natural hair right now, that doesn't mean that as a child you may not have heard negative things. that you really need to assess and get to the root. Okay, how do I really feel about natural hair? Do I think that it's pretty? Do I think that it's professional? Do I think that it should be worn in its natural state? Or do I feel like it needs to be altered, straightened is better? These are all things that you need to assess to let you know where your subconscious mind is within your natural hair journey, okay? And in your desire to not lose your edges. So the second thing that you can do to prevent yourself from getting traction alopecia is that you know and understand fully and completely that traction alopecia is 100% preventable and it's not something that has to happen. You'd be surprised how many people that I have spoken with during consultations wanting to recover their edges that really felt like there was nothing that they could do. And they have these different myths that are associated with traction alopecia that made them really susceptible to being able to get it. I have a video where I debunk those common myths, okay? Check that out if it's something that you really want to make sure that you understand what missing edges are. If you're still only using the terminology alopecia to describe your missing edges, you're really giving yourself a disservice. You need to now consciously make a choice to call it traction alopecia, because the other forms of alopecia you don't have control over. You don't have control over the genetic form of pattern balding. You don't really have control over if you get a disease and have to get, some type of treatment that causes you to lose your hair. You don't have control after you have a baby and your hormones are now leveling back to their normal way of postpartum hair shedding. But you do have control over traction alopecia. So using the term in the way that it's meant to be used, not just using alopecia blindly, really puts you in a place of power. It puts you in a place of understanding, hey, this is traction alopecia. This is not like I have, alopecia areata or something like that. I have one that all it takes is me understanding that I don't have to get it, okay? And the third and most important component to not losing your edges is shifting your mindset. Like Marcus Garvey said, shifting your mindset is the most important. And if you're one of these people watching it who already has natural hair, so you feel like this conversation not for you, let me tell you, all I do is natural hair in its natural state. Aside from occasional blowout for a trim, all I do is natural hair. And it's women with full heads of natural hair that are still susceptible to it. Because if you haven't transitioned your mind, the only thing you've done is went from a relaxer to kinky hair. But your mind has not accepted that kinky hair is the aesthetic that is yours, that is for you. So if you transitioned and all you did was wear box braids or sew-ins or crochet braids and you never wore your real hair, to even when you got a full head, the relaxed ends were cut off and you're still opting for these to be your go-to styles, 80% of the year you're in a protective style wearing fake hair, you haven't transitioned to natural because you don't even know your hair. You haven't even built a relationship with it. A lot of the issue with traction alopecia is women, black women, not seeing their hair as a part of who they are. It's a complete disconnect, physically and mentally. So I want to share a story about my client Alyssa, who was getting married and wanted to wear a lace front wig to her wedding. I only work with natural hair, so of course she went to someone else to get it done. When it was time for her to take the wig off, her whole entire hairline was gone in the front. She was really disappointed and shocked to see just all the progress that she and I had made over the course of several months gone in just, one hairstyle. And when she came back to me, what it really dawned on me was, I'm always encouraging clients to love their natural selves, embrace their natural hair texture. Doesn't matter the density, doesn't matter the length. And Alyssa, who was fully natural, beautiful full head of natural hair, was still influenced to want to wear this wig and take a chance on losing her edges. So this is what makes the mindset shift so important, because once you shift your mind about your beauty aesthetic, the one meant for you, not a European straight lace front type, But the one meant for you, once you embrace that, the choices you make are gonna be better. You're not gonna just let anybody in your head. You're gonna wanna protect it because you love it. So today we're gonna talk about the #1 reason for severe traction alopecia. There's a slippery slope from thinning edges to total irreversible hair loss around the entire perimeter of your hairline and of your scalp. And the #1 reason that traction alopecia evolves from minor to severe is the psychological and physiological disconnection that many of you have from your hair. And what I mean by that is you've subconsciously been able to remove your hair from being a part of your physical body. There's no connection to the two. And so how this disconnect happens is really what I want to dive into. So first let me say that you need to take note that if your edges are already thinning, because like I said, it's a very slippery slope that if you left them unchecked, that yours can easily get to a place of no return, severity, and there's nothing you can do about it, okay? So here are some reasons that I've identified that lead to severe voluntary hair loss. I call traction alopecia voluntary hair loss. So it first starts with childhood. If you never developed a sense of your hair being an important part of the grooming process, if you never had your hair consistently cared for or nurtured, or you were never shown how to care for it yourself, it can lead to, again, that disconnect, that physical disconnect. And that leads to the next thing, which is hair care neglect. I don't know anyone who would be comfortable going multiple days, weeks, or months without taking a shower or without brushing their teeth. But those same people are willing to go weeks and months without cleaning their hair and scalp, and have normalized it as long as the style still looks good. Oh, the style still looks good, I can take it down later. So the care is only in between the takedowns. Also, rarely seeing what your hair looks and feels like in its natural state. So just imagine never seeing your hair, always seeing what's not yours and loving that look. After so long, you're gonna desire that look constantly. And the look for your natural hair is going to become non-existent. So every time you book an appointment, you're going out to buy hair to take to the appointment with you. Do you honestly believe that it's not going to have a major impact on how you view your natural hair and your natural beauty overall? Just think about that. Another reason that it happens is being around other women who rarely, if ever, wear their real hair. Because I want to tell y'all that in most cases, change is more hard for other people to accept than it is for you. So the fear of their criticism, the fear of being judged, keep you stuck in being overly concerned about what you're gonna look like to other people. And that takes over your desire to change. The next reason is believing that your hair is just an accessory. I read this and see this on social media all the time. It's an accessory. I can do whatever I want to do with my hair. And that's true. You most definitely can. But your hair is still not an accessory. It is attached to your body. And just like any other part of your physical body, it requires consistent maintenance and care. Severe traction alopecia doesn't just happen overnight. By the time it gets to the severe part that's irreversible, you've actually watched it happen. And you've been okay with it happening. Subconsciously, at least you've been okay. Because wearing the hairstyle that caused it makes you feel so much better than having to look at yourself without it. So it takes away from the accountability factor. It takes away from the necessity to change so that it doesn't get worse. And this is where being addicted to the styles that cause traction alopecia to come in. Now you're depending on the styles for a very, very, very temporary self-esteem boost. Once that wig comes off, once those braids are taken down, or once that sew-in is removed, reality now sets in. Depression sets in. The way you look and how you feel about Your self-esteem and how you are is undeniable when it's just you and that mirror with nothing to cover it up. And then you start to feel shameful about those choices. And even that's okay. You need to feel that, because that's how you're gonna get to the point of wanting to do something different, but you just can't stay stuck there. You gotta be willing to do something different. And of course, the leading reason is preferring the European beauty standard over your own natural beauty standard. And this is, by the time it gets to severe, it's subconscious and conscious, because at some point between mild and severe, right, you've become aware because you can see it, can't deny it. And yet you're consciously choosing to keep doing those same things. Accountability and self-awareness are essential parts of changing the poor habits that led you to getting traction alopecia. And the saddest thing to see is sisters who have just given up. This is where the real severity comes in. Giving up hope because you concluded within yourself that the option for you to wear your real hair is gone now. And that having healthy hair is something that you'll never achieve. The negative self-talk can just wreak havoc on any opportunity that you have to make a change. And this is what I talked about in my main video, the main reasons why your edges aren't growing. It applies to this very topic. And that is that your willingness to lose your edges in the first place. Women who don't lose their edges are aware that they need to be protected. So my advice to you is to develop the consciousness that's going to allow you the ability to assess how you truly and honestly feel about your hair. And don't feel ashamed if you recognize negative emotions start to come up. Negative thoughts and words start to come up. Just take notice of them, and also notice it if you feel uncomfortable with how you think and feel, because that means that you don't like it and you really want to change. So now you have to realize that at any time you can do that. At any time you can make that change. At any time you can develop a loving, healthy relationship with your hair. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about 3 natural hairstyles that support growing your thinning edges back. One of the most common questions that I get from women recovering from traction alopecia is what hairstyles can they wear while trying to nurture their edges. And recovering from traction alopecia is really difficult for a lot of women because it requires sacrificing the styles that you might really love and that make you feel good and look pretty, but they also cause your edges. So potentially growing them back means that you're going to have to find hairstyles that you might not necessarily be used to seeing yourself wear, but are going to provide you with something better than just a temporary self-esteem boost. When you have to give those styles up, most of the time you're going to want to know what you're going to do about styling your hair. So today I'm going to give you my top 3 recommended natural hairstyles to support your traction alopecia restoration journey. The first style is locks, and let me not call it a style. I highly recommend locks because long hair is often the driving and obsessive force that leads a lot of you to wear 40-inch long braids, lace fronts that are knee length, and other trending styles that are super long. Unlike those styles, locks can't be taken off. They're yours. So the time and the money that you invest is going to pay off tenfold when it comes to you being able to really have long hair. And it's also going to build the confidence that a lot of sisters have never experienced before if they've only bought hair that was long and never really had real long hair that was natural. Locks are a state of being for your hair. It's not a hairstyle. And it allows you to shampoo, deep condition, without being anxious about what you're gonna do next. Length retention is guaranteed with very minimal maintenance and effort. I can tell you that right now. And as they grow longer, they will eventually cover up the thinning and bald edges while you work on growing them back. So let's say you have a severe case of traction alopecia to where your follicle is now permanently damaged. Again, it's gonna cover up those edges and give you the freedom to not have to worry about feeling embarrassed or anything like that. They also have the potential to grow to extensive lengths, well past the shoulder. They come in a variety of different looks, from traditional locks, which are what I have, sister locks, micro locks. You can interlock, you can freeform, you can do wicks. But when you commit to your lock journey, it's likely you're gonna end up committing to other journeys not related to your hair, like fitness, healthier eating, and personal growth goals. Growing locks is not for the weak. I will be the first to say it. It is for the committed. The second style is two-strand twists, mini twists, for basically the exact same reason as locks. Restoring your edges oftentimes is going to call for restoring the health of your hair at the same time. This style is going to allow you the protective benefits with no tension to your scalp or your hairline, and they can also be worn up to a month. You cover them up with a satin scarf every night to reduce frizz, and that'll help keep them looking neat longer. And you can shampoo and condition your hair while you're in the two-strand twist or the mini twist one time during that month to keep your scalp clean and healthy. If you shampoo too much, you might end up locking. The third style would be head wrapping. You can cover your edges with them. You can do different styles with them. There's different prints and colors, so you have a wide variety of options. If you haven't already, check out my 4 easy head wraps using the Dollar Tree head scarves. Those who are concerned that head wraps won't be allowed in the workplace because of dress code policies, please understand that head wraps are cultural to African, Caribbean, African American, and indigenous Negro American women. Muslim women wear hijabs, and it's socially acceptable. So it's time that we stake the same claim and stop asking for permission to follow our cultural and traditional looks. The most important part of these options is changing your mindset through proper education. Many of you don't know what healthy hair styles even consist of, nor of what makes a hairstyle beneficial for your hair and your mental well-being. Once you do that, you're gonna start choosing hairstyles based on how well they support the health of your hair growth, instead of just choosing it because you think it's a cute style and it looks good. Okay, so those are my 3 recommended hairstyles that you can wear that will support you in your desire to potentially grow your edges back. Hey everyone, so today I'm going to talk about how you can end up with traction alopecia even if you don't wear wigs with glue, tight braids, or weave. Okay, so the first and most common style that I see people end up with traction alopecia that's not related to braids, wigs, weaves are buns and ponytails. It is so easy for you to get traction alopecia if you're wearing your buns gelled and slicked back really tight, using a hard brush where you're brushing it down. Gels that are out right now that are like super hard. They get your hair rock hard, they're super strong, and basically no moisture's getting through once it sets and dries. So if you want to wear buns, it's best to not make them your go-to style. I know they're super cute, they're quick, they're easy. You can lay your little baby hair down and all of a sudden, bam, you look like a new person. However, if you're going to do it as a go-to style, meaning you're brushing it and you're gelling it down every single day, then you're more than likely going to end up with traction alopecia, and it's going to be gradual, but you will end up getting it because it's pulling and putting tension on those same areas every single day, week after week, month after month, if you're using your bun as a go-to style again. And you can also get traction alopecia towards the back of your neck and around your ears when you consistently wear buns. So it's not just about your edges. It affects right here around your ears and then right down here by the nape, okay? And that's why a lot of times you'll see ballerinas have traction alopecia, because they have to wear those tight buns all the time. So if you're gonna wear buns, the best thing to do is to not do your bun every single day. Okay? If you want to wear a bun as a go-to style, you want to treat it like a protective style. You can set your bun with the gel, let it get hard, and then instead of doing it again the next day, sleep with a do-rag on or a scarf. Wear it for about 4 to 5 days at a time. This way, it's very low manipulation. As far as moisturizing goes, when it's in a bun, you can get a fine mist spray bottle and pour some spring water in there at night, and then tie it up with your do-rag or your scarf. And you can wear that again for a few days as long as your scalp permits. Also, changing the position of the bun. If you have a top knot bun this week, don't do it in that same position the next week. If you have a low bun this week, put it on the side the next week. You have to switch up the position of the bun so it's not always in the same spot. But as a go-to style, I don't recommend it either way. But if you just have to wear it as a go-to style, another good thing you can do is braid the sides. So if you like to wear your bun right here, braid it up, bun right there. No need for gel. And again, you can wear it 5 to 7 days on average, and you'll be good. The second thing that I noticed that causes traction alopecia is wearing your hair in a puff. The puff right here with the elastic band around the middle. Especially right after you big chop, you're going from a teeny weeny afro and your hair's getting bigger. I see people using puffs as their go-to style. And then by the time the puff area is grown out, all of this is broken out around the sides. Because it's literally, once you gel that down and you put that elastic band around your whole head, it looks cute, but actually it's like putting the rubber band around your entire hairline. Like you would put a rubber band on a ponytail, but instead it's around your entire hairline. So the same thing would happen if it were a small ponytail. It's gonna start to break off. Especially this nape area around your ears, it breaks off really bad. I see it all the time when you wear the puff as a go-to. So I'm gonna recommend the same thing I did with the buns. Braid the sides around your puff. This way you won't even need an elastic band, okay? It'll still give you the look of the puff, but without the need for daily styling, gelling it down, any of that. If you just have to wear the slick down gel to the side puff, again, it shouldn't be a go-to. It should be for a special occasion, or you're rushing and now and then you wanna do that. But definitely not on the daily, okay? Definitely not on the daily. The next one is not necessarily a style. It's more something that I see being done consistently on a day-to-day basis that can lead to thinning your edges out. And that is using a toothbrush on your edges with edge control specifically, because the edge control that's being made now is being made to last up to 48 hours where you can't even, it's like hard as a rock. And you're doing that on a daily basis and it's caking up day by day. It's gonna cause breakage and possibly pull your edges out. So if you wanna have laid edges, the best thing to do is not to use edge control. Go back to using old school gel, possibly, best of all, alcohol free. And one that's not super heavy like the Echo Styler 10 volumes, okay? Something a bit lighter, like maybe the Aunt Jackie's. Aunt Jackie's makes a curl gel or something like that. I'm not big on talking about products, but those are two, all right? Stay away from the 48-hour hold. It's not a good thing for your follicles. They're being smothered all around your hairline when you use that. And although these are products that are coming out that are meant to be like remedies for an issue, I'm not sure what the issue is, because there's nothing wrong with having edges that don't lay down. But these remedies that are meant to keep your edges laid down for 2 days, and everybody's taking pride in the fact that they're making these products, again, not a good thing. Don't recommend it, okay? And if you're gonna lay your edges down, just stay mindful of that, okay? Because having your edges laid down does give it a cleaner finish. I will say that. Laying the edges down, if you have a style, it just gives it, like, it completes the style to me. It makes it really pretty. However, things are getting too far with edges nowadays. People are cutting edges. They're cutting their hair to cover up traction alopecia. You know what I mean? So it's just getting a bit far with the edges. The fourth thing that can cause traction alopecia is getting your locks twisted too tightly. Not too often. It's too tight. I used to think too often, but what I'm realizing, it's not the frequency, because you could get them retwisted every 3 to 4 weeks or somewhere in between there. And if that stylist isn't using any tension, you're not going to have any issues. If you're not getting it styled up and it's tight, you're not going to have any issues. Okay? Another way to not end up with issues from a retwist is not to use a comb. Don't comb your roots out. Just use the comb to separate the parts, put whatever product, and then just palm roll it or finger twist it. So try to stay away from that. Don't use a comb at the base of your locks when you're retwisting. This would be another way for you to make sure that your retwists don't make you end up losing hair and your hair thinning out. You can also skip using clips during your retwist. Just let your stylist know you want a clip-free retwist. When you add clips, it does add tension. As far as the services I give, I don't have to use clips, and I'm going to start giving clients the option if they want to use clips or not. Now I have a story to share. I had a client, and she came to me. She had been wearing a braided ponytail that she had done. She had a head full of beautiful hair too. When she got it done, she said she immediately felt pain, like right away. But it was cute. She was getting married. She needed it. She was in a position where she couldn't take it down. Taking it down wasn't an option. So even though she was having that extreme discomfort, she wore it for the entire weekend until the celebrations were over. She got back in town. When she took it down, she noticed she had a plug of missing hair right here on her scalp. So don't think that traction alopecia is just edges. That was traction alopecia. You can get it any time your hair is being snatched from the root due to extreme amounts of tension, tightness, and pulling. That is the definition. So that's whatever that looks like, whether it's a ponytail, braids, consistently using hard edge control for weeks at a time, using that toothbrush constantly on your edges. And you don't have to think too deep. Like, just because you're not wearing braids, if you start to see missing hair, just think about the practices. Be mindful of the habits. Put two and two together. Don't just dismiss it and disassociate from it, because you know what's going on. You don't need a doctor to tell you that, okay? So I hope that you find this beneficial. If you were wondering if you had traction alopecia or not because you don't wear braids or lace fronts, but you notice that your edges are thinning out over time, yes, that is traction alopecia. If you're able to connect it to the styles that you're wearing and being honest about that, and that you're doing it on a consistent basis, okay? So just keep that in mind. Thank you for watching. Go ahead and hit that like on the video and subscribe to my channel. I appreciate it so much, okay? Thanks. Peace. I'll see you in the next video.